The ballroom chandeliers at the Hotel Benson cast everything in amber. 300 people in evening wear, holding champagne flutes they barely touched. I stood near the back, by the service entrance, where the light didn't quite reach. Rebecca's voice came through the speakers, warm and practiced. She'd been doing this for 2 years now, hosting galas, shaking hands with donors, photographing well in that silver gown that cost more than my monthly rent. Before we continue, tell me where you're watching from in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories reach. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe. New stories every day. The foundation's logo glowed on the screen behind her. Lighthouse Charitable Trust. Clean serif font. Professional. I built that. And now, she said, smiling at the crowd, we have a special auction item tonight. The room quieted. I didn't move from my place against the wall. She pointed directly at me, her manicured finger, steady and deliberate. I'll give $1 to whoever takes my failed ex-husband out of here. Laughter rippled through the ballroom. Not loud, polite. The kind that fills corporate fundraisers when someone makes a joke that's slightly uncomfortable but too public to challenge. I felt my jaw tighten. My hands stayed at my sides. Come on, Rebecca continued, her smile widening. Surely someone here values a good tax write-off. More laughter. A few people glanced back at me. I recognized some of them. Attorneys, tech executives, the owner of that farm-to-table restaurant on Burnside. People who'd eaten at our table once. People I'd shown the original pitch deck to when the foundation was just an idea on my mother's dining room table. That was 2019, 6 years ago, before the divorce. Before Rebecca registered the nonprofit in her name only while I was managing my mother's hospice care. A chair scraped. Lauren Chen stood. She wore a navy dress. No jewelry, except small pearl earrings. She'd been Rebecca's maid of honor at our wedding. She'd also worked with me at Callaway & Fisher, back when I did forensic accounting for mid-sized firms, before I left to build something that mattered. I'll offer $10 million, Lauren said. The room went silent. Rebecca's smile froze. Lauren's voice stayed level, clear. Because this man built everything you're standing on tonight. Alone. And you erased his name from every document. She turned and walked out through the main doors. The crowd parted. I stood there another 10 seconds. Then I left through the service entrance, the way I'd planned to leave anyway. The rain started as I crossed Burnside. Portland rain, thin and persistent. The kind that soaks through your jacket by the third block. I walked to my car, a 2011 Honda Accord with 140,000 miles. The driver's side lock stuck. I had to pull the handle twice. Inside, I sat without turning the engine on. Water streaked the windshield. Streetlights smeared into orange halos. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I stared at it. Let it ring 4 times. Then I answered. Daniel, Lauren's voice, quieter than it had been in the ballroom. Don't go home yet. Why not? Because you need to see something first. Lauren, I'm at Powell's, main entrance. 10 minutes. The line went dead. I sat there another moment, listening to the rain on the roof. Then I started the engine and drove toward Burnside. Powell's city of books smelled like old paper and coffee. Lauren waited near the pillar by the map section, arms crossed. Still in the navy dress, but wearing a gray wool coat now. She didn't smile when she saw me. Follow me, she said. We walked to the back corner, past travel guides and atlases to a small reading nook no one ever used. She pulled a manila envelope from her bag and set it on the table between us. I've had this for 3 months, she said. I didn't know what to do with it. I looked at the envelope. Standard legal size, no markings. What is it? Bank transfers. From the foundation to Rebecca's personal accounts and to her brother's. My chest tightened. How much? $840,000. Over 18 months. I stared at her. She didn't look away. Marcus signed off on everything, she continued. Marcus Webb, Rebecca's older brother, corporate attorney at Stanton & Lee. He'd drawn up our prenup. He'd also filed the foundation's articles of incorporation while I was sitting in a hospice room, holding my mother's hand during her last week. Why are you showing me this? I asked. Lauren's jaw shifted. She looked down at the envelope. Because I was there, she said. When you pitched the foundation to your mother's hospice group, when you used your inheritance to fund the initial operations, When you stayed up until 3 in the morning building the donor database from scratch, she paused, and I watched Rebecca take credit for all of it. At board meetings, in grant applications, in the press release when Governor Kotek gave her that community service award. I said nothing. Lauren pushed the envelope toward me. I worked audit trails with you for 2 years, Daniel. You taught me how to track money through shell accounts and holding companies. You know what this is. I picked up the envelope. It was heavier than it looked. She's going to say I stole this. She can't, because I'm the one who pulled the records. I'm still listed as an authorized accountant on the Foundation's Wells Fargo business account. Rebecca never removed me after I left Callaway. I opened the envelope. Inside, printed bank statements, highlighted in yellow. Transaction dates, amounts, memo lines, transfers to RLH Consulting LLC, Rebecca's personal services company. Transfers to Web Advisory Group, Marcus's side practice, dates going back to January 2023, 2 years. There's more, Lauren said, but you'll need access to the Foundation's internal emails to see it. I looked up. I don't have access. I know. She pulled a USB drive from her coat pocket and set it next to the envelope. But I do. I drove home in silence. The envelope sat on the passenger seat. The USB drive stayed in my jacket pocket. My apartment was in Beaverton, a 1-bedroom in a complex built in the 70s. Thin walls, aluminum frame windows, a kitchenette with 2 burners. Rent was $1,100. I'd signed the lease 2 years ago, a week after the divorce was finalized. I unlocked the door and set the envelope on the counter, turned on the desk lamp, made coffee I didn't drink. Then I sat at my laptop and opened the files on the USB drive. Emails, hundreds of them. Rebecca to Marcus. Move another 30 KLI to RLH. Mark it as consultant fees. Marcus to Rebecca. Done. Same memo line as last month? Rebecca to Marcus. Yes. He's too busy with his minimum wage tutoring gig to notice. I read for 3 hours. At 2:40 a.m., I found the email I'd sent Rebecca in August 2019. Subject line, Foundation Compliance Concerns. I'd written it the week after my mother's funeral. I'd flagged discrepancies in the initial expense reports, personal charges mixed with business ones, no board oversight, no separation of funds. I'd said we needed to clean it up before filing for 501c3 status. Rebecca's reply, "You're overthinking this." Marcus says it's fine. She deleted my original email from the Foundation's server, but Lauren had saved it. I closed the laptop, sat in the dark. My coffee had gone cold. A crow landed on the fire escape outside my window. It tilted its head, stared at me through the glass. Then it cawed once and flew off into the rain. I didn't sleep that night. At 6:40 a.m., I opened my laptop again and started building a timeline. Every transfer, every email, every invoice that didn't match. By noon, I had 40 pages. At 3 p.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. "Mr. Hartman?" A woman's voice, professional. "This is Amanda Reese from the Oregon Department of Justice Nonprofit Integrity Section. I received a referral regarding Lighthouse Charitable Trust. Do you have time to speak?" I looked at the timeline on my screen, at the envelope on my counter, at the rain still falling outside. "Yes," I said. "I have time." The Oregon Department of Justice occupied 3 floors of a gray building on Summer Street. Amanda Reese's office was on the 2nd floor, corner window overlooking a parking structure. She was younger than I'd expected, maybe 35, wire-frame glasses, dark hair pulled back. A stack of folders covered half her desk. "Thank you for coming in, Mr. Hartman." She gestured to a chair across from her. "I've reviewed the materials you submitted. Bank statements, email correspondence, the 2019 compliance memo you sent to Ms. Webb." I sat. "How long does an investigation like this typically take?" "Depends on cooperation. If the Foundation provides records voluntarily, 6 to 8 weeks. If they resist, longer." She opened a folder. "I see here you were married to Rebecca Webb from 2017 to 2023. You initiated the Foundation using a personal inheritance of $180,000 from your late mother's estate." "Yes." "And during the divorce proceedings, you signed a settlement agreement that included a non-disclosure clause regarding Foundation operations." I nodded. "My attorney advised me to sign. I didn't have money for a prolonged fight." Amanda made a note. The NDA doesn't prevent you from reporting suspected fraud to state authorities. That's established case law in Oregon. Wilcox versus Brennan, 2018. She looked up. I need to ask, why now? The most recent transfers you documented occurred 8 months ago. Why didn't you come forward then? I didn't have proof then, just suspicions. And now you do. Yes. She closed the folder. I'll be honest with you, Mr. Hartman. This is a strong preliminary case. Commingling of funds, self-dealing, falsified expense reports. But I need corroboration. Someone with direct knowledge of the Foundation's internal operations. Lauren Chen, I said. She pulled the records. She worked with me at Callaway and Fisher. She's a CPA. Is she willing to provide a formal statement? I think so. Amanda handed me a business card. Have her contact me within 48 hours. If she confirms your documentation, I'll open a full investigation. I took the card. What happens then? We issue a subpoena for all Foundation records, bank accounts, board minutes, donor files. We'll interview the principals, your ex-wife, her brother, anyone else with signatory authority. She paused. This will become public. Once we open a formal case, it's part of the state record. Good, I said. I called Lauren from the parking structure. She answered on the second ring. How did it go? She wants a formal statement from you. Within 48 hours. Silence. Lauren, I'm here. Her voice was quieter. I need to tell you something. Can you meet me? When? Now. My apartment. Southeast Hawthorne, near 32nd. Lauren's building was a 4-story walk-up, red brick, built sometime in the 1920s. Her apartment was on the 3rd floor. 1 bedroom, hardwood floors, a kitchen table covered with file folders. She'd changed out of the work clothes she'd worn at our last meeting. Now she wore jeans and a gray sweater. No makeup. She poured 2 glasses of water, set one in front of me. I need to tell you why I waited 3 months before giving you those files. I said nothing. She sat across from me. Marcus threatened me. The room felt smaller. When? August. I was still doing contract work for the Foundation. Quarterly reviews, basic bookkeeping. I noticed the transfers to RLH Consulting. I asked Rebecca about them during a board call. She brushed it off, said they were legitimate fees for strategic planning. Lauren looked down at her water glass. 2 days later, Marcus called me. He said if I raised concerns about the Foundation's finances again, he'd make sure I never worked in Oregon accounting circles again. He has connections, CPA board, state licensing committee, firm partners across Portland. Why didn't you tell me then? Because I was scared. And because... She stopped. Because I wasn't sure you'd believe me. We hadn't spoken in 4 years. Not since you left Callaway. I remembered that. I'd resigned in January 2019 to take care of my mother full-time during her final months. Lauren had sent a card. I'd never responded. I should have reached out, I said. You were dealing with enough. She pushed one of the folders toward me. This is everything else. The parts I didn't give you at Powell's. I opened it. Inside, printed screenshots of text messages between Rebecca and Marcus. Dates going back to 2022, before the divorce was final. Rebecca to Marcus. Daniel's asking about the Foundation's tax filing. Can you stall him? Marcus to Rebecca. Already done. I told him the accountant is handling it. Rebecca to Marcus. Good. Once the divorce is final, we can move him off the paperwork completely. I read through 10 pages, then 20. Every conversation followed the same pattern. Rebecca planning, Marcus executing, me being erased. How did you get these? I asked. Lauren hesitated. Rebecca's phone syncs to her laptop. She left it open once during a board meeting at Marcus's office. I took photos with my phone while she was in the restroom. I looked up. That could be illegal. I know. She met my eyes. But you taught me something at Callaway. You said the best auditors aren't the ones who follow every rule. They're the ones who know which rules protect the truth and which ones protect the people hiding it. I'd said that during a training session on forensic documentation 2016. I'd been explaining why we sometimes had to push back against clients who wanted to bury unfavorable findings in footnotes. If you give this to the DOJ, Marcus will know it came from you, I said. I know. He'll go after your license. Probably. She took a sip of water. But I watched you build that foundation, Daniel. You talked about it like it mattered. Like it could actually help people who didn't have access to resources, homeless families, kids aging out of foster care, people who fall through the cracks. She set the glass down. Rebecca turned it into a tax shelter for her friends, and I said nothing. For 2 years. The radiator hissed in the corner. Outside, a bus passed on Hawthorne. "I'll go to the DOJ tomorrow," Lauren said. "I'll give them everything. But I need you to know, this is going to get ugly. Marcus won't just roll over. He'll fight, and he'll try to drag both of us down." "I know," she nodded, stood, walked to the window. "There's one more thing. Marcus set up a shell nonprofit last year, Cascadia Community Fund. It's registered at the same address as his law office. I think he's been funneling lighthouse donations through it." "For what?" "I don't know yet, but the paperwork lists him as president and Rebecca as treasurer. No other board members, no public disclosures." I felt something cold settle in my chest. "That's money laundering." "Yes." I drove back to Beaverton in silence. The files Lauren had given me sat in a folder on the passenger seat. By the time I reached my apartment, it was past 9. I heated a frozen burrito in the microwave, ate half of it standing at the counter. Then I sat at my laptop and opened the Cascadia Community Fund's public filing from the Oregon Secretary of State website. Articles of Incorporation, filed March 2024. Registered agent, Marcus Webb. Address, 720 SW Madison Street, Suite 400, Stanton and Lee's office. I cross-referenced it with Lighthouse's donor list from 2024, which I'd saved before losing access to the Foundation's shared drive. 3 major donors had given to Lighthouse in early 2024. All 3 had made secondary donations to Cascadia within 30 days. Total, $240,000. I wrote it down, added it to my timeline. At 11:50 p.m., my phone buzzed. Marcus Webb. The screen glowed in the dark. I stared at it for 10 seconds. Then I answered. "Daniel." His voice was smooth, controlled. The same tone he'd used during our prenup negotiations. "We need to talk." "About what?" "About the fact that you're making a very serious mistake." I said nothing. "I know you met with someone at the DOJ today. I know Lauren Chen has been feeding you information, and I know you think you have a case." "Do I?" A pause. Then, "You signed an NDA, Daniel. Any disclosure of Foundation operations is a breach. I can file for damages tomorrow. The NDA doesn't cover fraud. You'd have to prove fraud, which means discovery, depositions, years of litigation. Can you afford that?" I looked at the folder on my counter, at the timeline on my laptop screen. "Yes," I said. Another pause. Longer this time. "You're making this personal," Marcus said. "It doesn't have to be." "It was always personal." "Then you're a fool." The line went dead. I set the phone down. My hands were steady. Outside, the crow landed on the fire escape again. It cawed twice, then settled on the railing. I could see its silhouette against the streetlight. Wings folded, head tilted. Watching. I opened a new document and started typing. Formal complaint. Oregon Department of Justice. Lighthouse Charitable Trust and Cascadia Community Fund. I wrote for 2 hours. When I finished, it was 16 pages. At 2:20 a.m., I emailed it to Amanda Reese. At 2:23 a.m., her auto reply came back. "I will respond to your message within 1 business day." I closed the laptop, looked out at the fire escape. The crow was gone. I made coffee, watched the sky turn gray over Beaverton. At 8 a.m., my phone buzzed. "Amanda Reese," I answered. "Mr. Hartman," she said, "I've reviewed your supplemental filing, and I've scheduled an interview with Ms. Chen for tomorrow morning. And we're opening a full investigation, effective immediately." 3 weeks passed. I worked remote data entry for a medical billing company. $8 an hour, flexible schedule, no camera required. I'd sit at my laptop from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m., entering patient codes and insurance numbers into spreadsheets. The work required no thought. That helped. My apartment became smaller, or I became smaller inside it. I wasn't sure which. I'd wake at 6:30 a.m., make instant coffee, sit at the desk, work, eat a sandwich at noon without tasting it, work until 5, heat a frozen meal, Eat half, throw the rest away. The crow returned every morning. Same time, 6:45 a.m. It would land on the fire escape, tilt its head, watch me through the window for 30 seconds. Then it would fly off toward the tree line behind the complex. I started leaving breadcrumbs on the railing. Amanda Reese sent updates via email. Terse, professional. October 15th, subpoenas issued to Lighthouse Charitable Trust and Cascadia Community Fund. Response deadline, November 1st. October 22nd, subpoenas issued to Wells Fargo and U.S. Bank for account records. October 28th, interview scheduled with Marcus Webb for November 8th. I didn't hear from Lauren. I assumed she was preparing her statement or being pressured to withdraw it. On October 30th, I received a certified letter. The return address, Stanton and Lee, attorneys at law. Inside, a cease and desist notice. 4 pages, dense legal language. The core message was simple. Daniel Hartman is hereby notified that any further disclosure of confidential foundation information constitutes breach of the November 2023 settlement agreement. Stanton and Lee demands immediate retraction of all statements made to government agencies and cessation of tortious interference with Lighthouse Charitable Trust operations. I read it twice. Then I scanned it and emailed it to Amanda Reese. Her reply came within an hour. This is a standard intimidation tactic. Ignore it. Your cooperation with our investigation is protected under Oregon whistleblower statutes. I printed her email, pinned it to the wall above my desk. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed listening to the radiator clank and hiss. At 2 a.m., I got up and made coffee I didn't drink. At 3 a.m., I opened my laptop and searched for Lauren's name. Nothing recent. Her LinkedIn profile hadn't been updated since August. Her firm's website still listed her as an associate, but when I clicked her bio page, it returned a 404 error. I closed the laptop. At 6:45 a.m., the crow came back. I watched it eat the breadcrumbs. It stayed longer this time, almost 2 minutes. Then it cawed once and disappeared into the gray October sky. On November 3rd, Lauren called. I gave my statement, she said. No preamble. Her voice sounded thinner than I remembered. How did it go? 4 hours. Amanda Reese and another investigator. They recorded everything. Asked me to walk through every transfer, every email, every conversation I witnessed. Did they believe you? A pause. Yes. But Marcus's attorney was there. He objected to half my answers, called me biased, said I had a personal vendetta against Rebecca. Do you? Silence. No, she said finally. I just got tired of watching people get erased. I heard something in the background, a door closing, footsteps. Lauren, where are you? My car. I'm parked outside my building. I didn't want to have this conversation inside. Why? Because Stanton and Lee filed a bar complaint against me. Professional misconduct. Unauthorized disclosure of client information. They're arguing that my work for the foundation created an attorney-client privilege that I violated. My chest tightened. That's insane. You were never their attorney. I know, but the complaint goes to the Oregon State Bar. They have to investigate. It'll take months. And until it's resolved, some firms won't touch me. Have you lost clients? 3, so far. Her voice stayed level, controlled. It's fine. I knew this would happen. Lauren, I'm not calling for sympathy, Daniel. I'm calling because Amanda Reese told me something. Rebecca and Marcus are fighting. I sat up straighter. About what? Rebecca wants to settle. Quietly. Return the money, dissolve the foundation, walk away. Marcus wants to fight the investigation. He thinks they can discredit us, claim the transfers were legitimate consulting fees. What did Amanda say? She said if they don't settle by November 15th, the case goes to the Attorney General's office. Full criminal referral, fraud, embezzlement, money laundering. November 15th, 12 days. Do you think Rebecca will break? Lauren exhaled. I don't know. But Marcus is scared. I could hear it during the deposition. He kept checking his phone, kept asking for breaks. Good. Daniel, her voice dropped. If this goes criminal, they'll both face charges. Rebecca could get jail time. Real jail time. I know. Does that bother you? I looked out the window. The sky was the color of wet concrete. No, I said. On November 8th, I received an email from an address I didn't recognize. Subject: you need to stop. I opened it. Daniel, this has gone far enough. I know you're angry. I know you feel like I wronged you, but what you're doing now is going to destroy more than just me. Marcus could lose his law license. The foundation, which actually helps people, whatever you think, will collapse. Donors will walk away. Programs will shut down. Is that what you want? To burn everything because your ego got bruised? I'm offering you a deal. I'll return the money, all of it. $840,000 plus interest. And I'll add your name back to the foundation's founding documents. Public credit. Full recognition. But you have to withdraw your complaint to the DOJ. Today. Think about it. Please. Rebecca, I read it 3 times. Then I forwarded it to Amanda Reese without comment. Her reply: do not respond. This is evidence of attempted witness tampering. I'm adding it to the file. I didn't respond to Rebecca. At 4 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Mr. Hartman? A man's voice. Older. Formal. This is Judge Philip Corwin. I'm a friend of Marcus Webb's. He asked me to reach out to you. I said nothing. I understand there's been some difficulty regarding the Lighthouse Charitable Trust. I've reviewed the situation, and I believe there's been a misunderstanding. Marcus is a good attorney, an ethical one. I've known him for 20 years. Why are you calling me? A pause. Because I'd hate to see a promising young man like yourself make a mistake that could follow you for years. Litigation is expensive, emotionally and financially. Sometimes the wiser path is resolution. Is this a threat? Of course not. I'm simply offering perspective. I hung up. My hands were shaking. I set the phone on the counter and walked to the window. The crow was there, perched on the railing, staring at me. I opened the window. Cold air rushed in. The crow didn't move. I'm not stopping, I said aloud. It cawed once, then it spread its wings and lifted into the wind. On November 12th, Amanda Reese called. We have a problem, she said. What kind? The independent auditor we hired to review the foundation's books just quit. No explanation. He sent a one-line email this morning. I can no longer continue this engagement. Why? I don't know. But I have a theory. Marcus Webb sits on the board of the Oregon Society of CPAs. He has influence. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. Can you find another auditor? We're trying, but it'll delay the investigation by at least 3 weeks. Maybe more. What about the November 15th deadline? Extended. We can't refer a case to the AG without a complete financial audit. I closed my eyes. Marcus bought himself time. Yes. Maid, what do I do? Amanda's voice softened. You wait, and you trust the process. I didn't trust the process. That night I opened my laptop and started searching. Oregon business filings, property records, court documents. At 1 a.m., I found it. Cascadia Community Fund had purchased a property in August 2024, a small commercial building in northeast Portland. Purchase price, $180,000, paid in cash, the same amount I'd inherited from my mother. I pulled up the property's transaction history. It had been owned by a limited liability company, RLH Holdings, LLC, Rebecca's company. She'd bought it in 2023 for $95,000. Sold it to Cascadia, Marcus's shell nonprofit, for $180,000. Profit, $85,000. I sat back, stared at the screen. They'd laundered my inheritance, taken the money I'd given the foundation, funneled it through fake consulting fees, used it to buy property from Rebecca's company, then flipped it to Marcus's nonprofit at inflated value. I saved the records, added them to my timeline. At 2:30 a.m., I emailed everything to Amanda Reese. At 6:45 a.m., the crow came back. I didn't have breadcrumbs this time, but it stayed anyway, watching, waiting. At 8 a.m., Amanda called. We found a new auditor, she said. Someone outside Oregon, no connections to Marcus Webb. When can they start? Tomorrow. And the criminal referral? If the audit confirms what you found last night. She paused. We'll have enough for the AG, more than enough. The audit took 9 days. I kept working, data entry, 8 hours a day, Patient names, diagnosis codes, insurance policy numbers. My fingers moved across the keyboard without thought. At lunch, I'd eat a sandwich and stare at the wall. Lauren called once during that time. Brief. She'd lost 2 more clients. The bar complaint was moving forward. Formal hearing scheduled for January. Her voice stayed steady, but I heard the exhaustion underneath. "How are you holding up?" I asked. "I'm fine." A pause. "That's a lie. I'm not fine, but I'm still here." "That's enough." "Is it?" I didn't have an answer. The crow came every morning, 6:45 a.m. exact. I'd started keeping a loaf of bread in the freezer just for it. It would eat, tilt its head at me, then disappear into the November sky. On November 21st, Amanda Reese called. "The audit's complete," she said. "Can you come to my office?" "When?" "Now." Amanda's office looked different. The folders that had covered her desk were gone. In their place, a single bound report, 200 pages thick. She sat with her hands folded on top of it. "Sit down, Daniel." I sat. She opened the report. The auditor found systematic fraud spanning 3 years, commingling of funds, self-dealing, falsified donor receipts, and, most significantly, money laundering through the Cascadia Community Fund. She turned to a flagged page. "The property transaction you discovered was just the beginning. There were 4 others, all following the same pattern. Lighthouse donations transferred to RLH Consulting, used to purchase properties from Rebecca's holding company, then sold to Cascadia at inflated prices. Total profit, $340,000. That's in addition to the $840,000? Yes, we're looking at $18 million in total fraud." I felt something cold settle in my chest, not anger, something quieter. "What happens now?" Amanda closed the report. "I'm referring this to the Oregon Attorney General. Criminal fraud, money laundering, tax evasion. Both Rebecca and Marcus will face charges. How long? The AG will review our findings. If they accept, and they will, they'll convene a grand jury. Indictments within 60 days. She leaned forward. "But there's another option. Rebecca's attorney contacted me yesterday. She wants to cooperate. Meaning, full restitution, testimony against Marcus, dissolution of both foundations. In exchange, the AG might offer reduced charges, probation instead of prison. And Marcus? No deal. He's fighting." His attorney filed a motion to dismiss the investigation on procedural grounds. It won't work, but it'll buy him time. I looked at the report on her desk. 200 pages, 3 years of lies, condensed into binding and tabs. Does Rebecca know what she's facing if she doesn't cooperate? Yes. Her attorney made that very clear. What did she say? Amanda met my eyes. She asked if you'd be willing to support leniency, if she made full restitution and testified. The question hung in the air. "No," I said. Amanda nodded. "I'll let her attorney know." I drove to Laurelhurst Park. I don't know why. It was raining, soft, persistent Portland rain, and the park was empty except for a woman walking a dog near the pond. I sat on a bench under a Douglas fir, watched the water ripple. Rebecca and I used to come here, early in the marriage, before the foundation, before my mother got sick. We'd walk the loop trail, talk about the future. She wanted to build something that mattered. I believed her. I pulled out my phone, opened my email, scrolled back to October 2019, the email I'd sent her. Foundation compliance concerns. I'd written, "Rebecca, I think we need to separate personal and business expenses before we file for nonprofit status. I'm seeing charges that don't align with our mission statement. Can we meet this week to review?" Her reply, "You're overthinking this. Marcus says it's fine. Trust me." I'd trusted her. I deleted the email thread. Then I stood and walked back to my car. On November 28th, Thanksgiving, I worked. The billing company paid holiday overtime, $12 an hour. I sat at my desk from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m., entering codes. At noon, my phone buzzed. Marcus Webb. I stared at the screen, let it ring. It went to voicemail. I didn't listen. 10 minutes later, a text. "We need to talk, in person. Tomorrow. 10 a.m. My office." I deleted it. At 6:45 p.m., my phone rang again. "Lauren," I answered. "Happy Thanksgiving," she said. "You too." Silence. "Are you alone?" she asked. "Yes. Me too." A pause. "I made a turkey, a small one. I don't know why. Force of habit, I guess." "Did you eat it?" Some of it. The rest is in the fridge. I'll be eating turkey sandwiches until January. I almost smiled. Daniel, she said, her voice quieter. Amanda told me about Rebecca's cooperation offer, and that you said no. Yeah. Why? I looked out the window. The sky was dark. The crow hadn't come that morning, first time in 3 weeks. Because some things can't be fixed with restitution, I said. Lauren didn't respond right away. Then, I think you're right. On December 2nd, I received a certified letter, the return address, Rebecca Lynn Hartman, her apartment in the Pearl District. Inside, a handwritten note on cream stationery, her handwriting perfect and slanted. Daniel, I know you won't forgive me. I'm not asking you to, but I need you to understand something. I didn't plan this. Not at first. When we started the foundation, I believed in it. I believed in what you wanted to build. But then your mother died, and you disappeared into grief, and I was left running everything alone. Marcus offered to help. He said we could expand faster if we were strategic, if we structured things efficiently. I was stupid. I trusted him. And by the time I realized what he'd done, what we'd done, it was too late to stop. I'm not asking for leniency. I'm asking you to let me fix this. I'll return every dollar. I'll testify. I'll accept whatever punishment they give me. But Marcus needs to go down for this, not me. Please. Rebecca, I read it twice. Then I folded it and put it back in the envelope. I didn't respond. At 3:09 p.m., Amanda Reese called. The AG accepted the case, she said. Grand jury convenes January 8th. Rebecca has until December 15th to accept the cooperation agreement. After that, the offer's off the table. What's Marcus doing? Stalling. His attorney filed 3 more motions, all frivolous. The judge denied them this morning, so it's moving forward. Yes, she paused. Daniel, I need to prepare you for something. Once the indictments are issued, this becomes public. Your name will be in the court filings. Rebecca's attorney might try to paint you as vindictive. The press might pick it up. I don't care. Are you sure? I thought about the crow, about the breadcrumbs I'd left every morning for 3 weeks, about the way it would tilt its head and watch me before flying away. Yes, I said. I'm sure. On December 10th, I did something I hadn't planned. I drove to Northeast Portland, to the building Cascadia Community Fund had purchased with my inheritance. It was small, single-story, brick, built in the 1960s. A sign in the window, for lease. I parked across the street and stared at it. This building had cost $180,000, money my mother had saved for 40 years. Money she'd left to me with a single instruction: use it for something that matters. I'd given it to Rebecca. She'd stolen it. Marcus had laundered it, and now it sat empty. I pulled out my phone, called the leasing number on the sign. A woman answered. Professional. Cheerful. Hi, this is Cascade Properties. How can I help you? I'm interested in the building on MLK Boulevard, the one that's for lease. Oh, wonderful, that's a great space. 200 square feet, updated electrical, new roof last year. Are you looking for retail or office? Office. Perfect. Would you like to schedule a viewing? I looked at the building, at the brick, at the empty windows. No, I said. I just wanted to know if it was still available. It is. We've had some interest, but nothing solid yet. Good. I hung up. Then I called Amanda Reese. I want to file a civil claim, I said, against Cascadia Community Fund for fraudulent transfer of assets. I want that building back. Silence. Daniel, that could take years, and it might not succeed. I don't care. I want them to know I'm not stopping. Amanda exhaled. Okay, I'll draft the complaint. But you should know, this is going to cost you money. Legal fees, filing costs, and Marcus will fight it. Let him. On December 15th at 4:50 p.m., 10 minutes before the deadline, Rebecca's attorney called Amanda Reese. Rebecca accepted the cooperation agreement. Full restitution, $1, $18 million, paid over 5 years. Testimony against Marcus. Guilty plea to conspiracy to commit fraud. Sentencing recommendation, 3 years probation, 500 hours community service. Marcus would face trial alone. Amanda called me at 5:30 p.m. It's done, she said. She signed. I stood at my window. The sky was gray. The Crow landed on the fire escape, right on schedule. What about Marcus? He just found out. His attorney withdrew from the case an hour ago. Why? Probably because he knows it's unwinnable now. With Rebecca cooperating, Marcus has no defense. The Crow cawed. Once. Twice. When's the indictment? January 8th. But I expect Marcus to contact you before then. He's going to be desperate. I won't answer. Good. I hung up, opened the window. The Crow hopped closer. We're almost there, I said quietly. It tilted its head. Then it spread its wings and lifted into the December wind. The grand jury convened on January 8th. I wasn't allowed in the room. Neither was Lauren. We sat on a bench in the hallway outside the Multnomah County Courthouse 3rd floor, waiting. Amanda Reese emerged at 2:40 p.m. They indicted, she said. 4 counts. Wire fraud, money laundering, theft by deception, filing false tax returns. Both of them? Lauren asked. Marcus, yes. 4 counts. Rebecca, 1. Conspiracy to commit fraud, per her agreement. I stood. When's the arraignment? January 26th. But there's going to be a pre-trial conference first. Marcus's new attorney requested mediation. Why? Amanda's expression didn't change. Because he knows what's coming. On January 15th, Marcus called me. I was at my desk, entering insurance codes. The phone buzzed. I looked at the screen. Marcus Webb. I let it ring. Voicemail. Daniel, it's Marcus. I know you don't want to talk to me. But we need to resolve this before it goes any further. I'm not the villain here. Rebecca manipulated both of us. If you just... I deleted it without listening to the rest. 10 minutes later, another call. Marcus Webb. I blocked the number. At 8:00 p.m., someone knocked on my door. I looked through the peephole. Marcus stood in the hallway, wearing a dark coat, hands in his pockets. His face looked thinner than I remembered. I didn't open the door. He knocked again. Daniel, I know you're in there. I just want 5 minutes. Silence. Please. I unlocked the door, opened it 6 inches, chain still latched. Marcus looked at me. His eyes were bloodshot. I need you to understand something. Rebecca's lying. She's the one who set up Cascadia. She's the one who arranged the property transfers. I just signed the paperwork. Then why didn't you say that during discovery? Because I was trying to protect her. She's my sister. And now she's testifying against you. His jaw tightened. She made a deal to save herself, but it's built on lies. If you'd just talk to the prosecutor, tell them what Rebecca was really like. I have talked to the prosecutor. I gave her everything. Everything Rebecca wanted you to see. He leaned closer. Daniel, think about it. Who had access to the foundation accounts? Who signed the checks? Who kept the books? You did, as legal counsel. Only because Rebecca asked me to. His voice cracked. I trusted her, just like you did. I started to close the door. Wait. He pulled an envelope from his coat. This is a cashier's check. $180,000. Your mother's inheritance. Take it. Drop the civil suit. I'll plead guilty to 1 count. Probation. No trial. I looked at the envelope, then at him. No. Daniel. I closed the door, locked it. He stood there for another minute. I could see his shadow through the peephole. Then he walked away. I threw the deadbolt and went back to my desk. The mediation was held January 18th in a conference room at the courthouse. Amanda Reese sat to my left. Lauren sat to my right. Across the table, Rebecca, her attorney, a sharp woman in her 50s named Diane Moss, and Marcus, with a young public defender who looked fresh out of law school. A mediator sat at the head of the table. Gray-haired man, patient voice. He explained the process. Voluntary, confidential, non-binding. Marcus's attorney spoke first. My client is willing to accept responsibility for 1 count of filing false tax returns. In exchange, the state drops the remaining charges. He'll pay a fine and accept 2 years probation. Amanda didn't look up from her notes. No. My client has no prior record. He's a respected member of the Oregon Bar. Your client laundered over $1 million through a fake nonprofit. The answer is no. Diane Moss cleared her throat. Ms. Reese, perhaps we could hear from the victims. Mr. Hartman, Ms. Chen, do you have anything you'd like to say? I looked at Rebecca. She sat with her hands folded on the table, looking down. She'd lost weight. Her face was paler than I remembered. Yes, I said. The room went quiet. I want to know why. Rebecca looked up. Her eyes were red. Why you stole from the foundation I built with my mother's money. Why you erased my name. Why you lied to donors, to the state, to me. She opened her mouth, closed it. I loved you, I said. I trusted you. I gave you everything. Her voice came out barely above a whisper. I know. Then why? She looked at Marcus, then back at me. Because I was afraid. Of what? Of being nothing. Her voice broke. You were the one with the vision. The one everyone admired. I was just the wife. And when your mother died, you checked out. You stopped caring about the foundation. About me. I had to keep it running. I had to prove I could do it without you. So you stole from it. Marcus said it was legal. He said nonprofits did it all the time. Consulting fees, overhead, administrative costs. He said, as long as we documented everything, Rebecca. Marcus's voice was sharp. Stop talking. She ignored him. But it wasn't legal, and I knew that. Deep down, I knew. Diane Moss put a hand on Rebecca's arm. That's enough. Rebecca pulled away. No, I'm done lying. She looked at me. I'm sorry, Daniel. I know that doesn't fix anything. But I am. I didn't respond. Marcus stood. We're done here. His attorney looked panicked. Mr. Webb, I strongly advise. I said we're done. He walked out. The mediator sighed. I think we'll take a recess. I stood in the courthouse hallway, looking out the window at the Willamette River. Gray water, gray sky. Lauren appeared beside me. You okay? Yeah. That took guts. What you said in there. I didn't answer. Rebecca emerged from the conference room. Diane Moss was talking to her in low, urgent tones. Rebecca nodded, but she was looking at me. She walked over. Diane followed, frowning. Daniel, Rebecca said. Can we talk? Just for a minute. Lauren tensed beside me. It's fine, I said to Lauren. She hesitated, then walked a few feet away. Rebecca stood there, arms wrapped around herself. I meant what I said. I am sorry. Okay, is that all you're going to say? What do you want me to say, Rebecca? She looked down. I don't know. Maybe that you don't hate me. I don't hate you. She looked up, surprised. Hate takes energy, I said. I don't have any left for you. Her face crumpled. She turned and walked away, Diane hurrying after her. Lauren came back. You handled that well. Did I? Better than I would have. On January 22nd, Marcus was arraigned. He pled not guilty to all counts. Trial set for April 15th. Rebecca pled guilty to conspiracy to commit fraud. Sentencing scheduled for March 1st. I didn't attend either hearing. At 6:45 a.m. on January 23rd, the crow came back. I'd stopped leaving breadcrumbs weeks ago, but it landed on the fire escape anyway. It looked at me through the window, cawed once. Then it flew north, toward the hills. I watched until it disappeared. Marcus's trial lasted 6 days. I didn't attend. I followed it through Amanda Reese's emails. Brief, factual updates. April 15th, trial begins. Jury selection complete. April 17th, Rebecca testified. 3 hours. Marcus's attorney tried to discredit her. Didn't work. April 19th, prosecution rested. Defense called 2 character witnesses. April 22nd, jury deliberated 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. I read the last email twice. Then I closed my laptop and went to work. Marcus was sentenced on May 6th. 5 years federal prison, wonder. 18 million restitution, permanent disbarment. Rebecca was sentenced on May 8th. 3 years probation, 500 hours community service, 5-year payment plan for her share of restitution. I received a check on May 15th, $180,000. From the dissolution of Cascadia Community Fund, my mother's inheritance returned. I deposited it. The teller asked if I wanted to speak with a financial advisor. I said no. The civil suit for the building settled in June. The property reverted to my name. I sold it 3 weeks later for $195,000. After legal fees, I cleared $170,000. I didn't feel victorious. I felt tired. Lauren called in July. The bar complaint was dismissed, she said. Insufficient evidence of misconduct. That's good. Yeah. A pause. I'm leaving Portland. Where are you going? Seattle. I have a job offer. Compliance director for a mid-sized firm. Good pay, clean slate. When do you leave? Next month. Silence. I'd like to see you before I go, she said. If that's okay. Okay. We met at Laurelhurst Park. August afternoon. Warm sun. Families on the grass. Lauren looked different. Lighter, somehow. She'd cut her hair short. We walked the loop trail without talking for a while. How are you doing? She asked finally. I'm okay. That's not an answer. I looked at the pond. Ducks floating. Lazy circles. I don't know what I am. She nodded. Yeah. We kept walking. Do you regret it? I asked. Everything that happened? She thought about it. No. I regret waiting as long as I did, but not doing it. You lost clients. Almost lost your license. I know. She stopped walking. But I can look at myself in the mirror now. That's worth something. I didn't disagree. What about you? She asked. Do you regret it? I thought about the ballroom, the chandeliers, Rebecca pointing at me, Lauren standing up. No, I said. We reached the bench where I'd sat last November. We both sat down. I wanted to tell you something, Lauren said, before I leave. Okay. That night at Powell's when I gave you the envelope. I didn't do it because I felt guilty. I did it because I was angry. I looked at her. Angry at Rebecca for using people. Angry at Marcus for threatening me. But mostly angry at myself for staying quiet. She looked down at her hands. I told myself I was protecting my career. But really, I was just scared. You weren't the only one who was scared. I know, but you did something about it. I just watched. Until you didn't. She smiled slightly. Yeah, until I didn't. We sat there for a while, watching the water, the light through the trees. Are you going to stay in Portland? She asked. I don't know. Maybe. You should leave. Start over somewhere else. Maybe. She stood. I should go. I have packing to do. I stood too. She held out her hand. I shook it. Thank you, I said. For what? For standing up. She held my hand a moment longer, then let go. Take care of yourself, Daniel. You too. She walked away. I watched until she disappeared past the trees. Then I sat back down on the bench. The crow landed on the grass 10 feet away. It had been months since I'd seen it. It tilted its head, watching me. I didn't have breadcrumbs, but it stayed anyway. After a minute, it spread its wings and lifted into the clear August sky. I watched it go. In September, I moved to a different apartment. Still in Beaverton, but newer. 2 bedrooms, better windows, a small balcony. Rent was $2,400. I could afford it now. I quit the data entry job. Started freelance bookkeeping for small nonprofits. Legitimate ones. The work felt clean. On October 30th, 1 year after receiving Lauren's manila envelope, I drove to the Hotel Benson. I didn't go inside. I just sat in the parking garage looking at the entrance. I thought about walking in, ordering a drink at the bar, sitting in the same ballroom where it started. But I didn't. I drove to Powell's instead, bought a book, sat in the coffee shop upstairs for an hour, reading. When I left, it was raining. Portland rain. Thin, persistent. I didn't mind it anymore. In November, I received a letter, handwritten envelope, no return address. Inside, a single page, Lauren's handwriting. Daniel. Seattle is good. The work is challenging. The people are kind. I have an apartment near Green Lake. I run in the mornings. I think about Portland sometimes. About what we did. I don't know if it was worth it. But I know it was necessary. I hope you're okay. I hope you're building something new. You don't have to write back. I just wanted you to know I'm still here. Lauren, I read it twice. Then I folded it and put it in a drawer. I didn't write back, but I kept the letter. On December 15th, I woke at 6:30 a.m., made coffee, sat on the balcony. The sky was gray. Winter coming. A crow landed on the railing. Not the same one. I couldn't be sure. But it looked at me the same way. I didn't have breadcrumbs. I hadn't kept bread in months. The crow cawed once. Then it flew north toward the hills. I watched it disappear. Then I went inside, turned on my laptop, and started work. The morning was quiet. For the first time in 2 years, that felt like enough.